talk to you a little bit about Norway, one of the cities that I'm pretty excited about.
Harald Hardrada leads Norway in Sid Meier's Civilization VI. Hardrada translates as hard ruler, and this fearsome Viking leader lived up to his name. He solidified his rule of Norway and was often abroad in raids and wars to gain territory and wealth. Harald's ability is the Thunderbolt of the North. All his naval melee units can perform coastal raids. Harald also gets the Longship. In addition to having the coastal raid ability, it can heal in neutral territory. Norway's unique unit is the Berserker. Pillaging costs 1 less movement, and the Berserker gets a bonus to attack, but it's more vulnerable when defending. The Stave Church is Norway's unique building. It has all the benefits of a temple, but gets an additional faith adjacency bonus from woods. Norway is a naval-focused civ. Their units pay no cost to embark or disembark, and once you research shipbuilding, all naval and embarked units may move onto ocean tiles. Early access to deep water sailing means Norway can easily explore and spread around the world. With Harald's ability to strike hard at coastal cities, Norway can keep other civs contained in the early and middle game to give it room to expand in the late game. Will other nations tremble at the sight of your sail?
Alright, so let's look a little bit into Norway. Norway is an interesting civ because they allow you to do a couple interesting things. One of them being that you can plunder with boats. You can plunder nearby tiles. I think this is fun and interesting gameplay, and is a little bit, more realistic to, history when they would get off boats and, raid the local church, maybe in England, something like that, right? So I think this is a nice little addition to gameplay, and I think it'll be quite interesting instead of just having boats that go around and can't bother you. So I think that's great. I almost think that should be for every civilization, to be honest. But hey. All right. Next is the fact that they have these long ships. So these come in like probably, I'm guessing classical age or early medieval, maybe medieval. But either way, I think that assuming that the long ships and the berserkers come around the same time, you'll be having quite a large power spike around the early/mid game, and you'll be able to really push people back and take some territory. Kill a couple people. So this is a fun nation for. I think that I might enjoy this nation the most because you have enough time to build up your soldiers, or build up your soldiers and build up your cities, and then you can really come out like hitting hard in the mid game. And I think that's going to be awesome. And these guys are great for attacking, so I think they'll really lead you to push forward more and not use them for defense, which is great. I think I'm glad to see them taking a little bit more of a complex aspect to combat. I like to see units that are intended for a very specific purpose, as in many strategy games that usually occurs. But in Civ 5, not too many units were tailored to be able to attack or defend or something like that. So I'm glad to see them taking more of an approach of like, all right, this unit is clearly for offense. Like this is what it's here for, So that's what I want to see. So yeah, this will be interesting. Another thing to note is, they've got one of these adjacency bonuses, so you're probably going to want to settle near forest, which I think is cool. It's kind of immersive. You think about, all right, well, I'm going to be role-playing as, Norway. There's a lot of forests in Norway. It'd be great if I could get this next to a forest. Now, obviously, this won't be game-breaking, but I think that anything that kind of pushes you a little bit towards building a nation as it was is gives a little bit of immersion. Yeah. The early access to deep water is going to be great for that conquering. It's going to make them again very capable of attacking you from far. So it'll make the Viking threat very real in the mid game, which is historically accurate. Interesting, right? So I'm pretty pumped about all these changes. I mean, about this nation, and all the changes as well. And the healing boats that pillage is also very exciting. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Actually, even more so than maybe Montezuma. There he is, right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to this nation more so than Montezuma, just because I'll have time to build things up. The one thing I've never liked about early game nations is that very, very early game nations is that sometimes you don't have time to build enough, units. So it's here comes your time to shine nice and early in the game. And by the time you build enough of them, they're outdated. But in this case, you can build up an empire, then strike hard. In terms of strength, I'd say they're fairly strong. I'd say they're just decently strong. They're not going to be like crushingly good, but if you manage to use them well, I'm sure they'll be awesome. But you got to survive that very early game, build up carefully, and then hit in the mid game. So I'd say they're decent, but they have to be played right, and they can be great if they're played right. But I hesitate to color them as strong just because how dangerous early game bonuses can be for some of the other nations like Scythia and Monty. I'd color these guys as like slightly on the lower side of strength, maybe average, just because of how conditional their power is, and you have to use it right. Yeah. All right, guys, have a great one. Next time I'll go over some of the other nations.